Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana. And we're here today with special guest, Tisha Marie Cain, who's here to share with us Executive Wisdom Series, The Power of Outcome Over Income. So what happens when a leader stops chasing income and starts creating impact? Well, today, Tisha Marie Cain is here to share with us how shifting focus from profit to purpose unlocks clarity, fulfillment, and lasting success in both business and in life. Tisha Marie Cain is an executive counsel, C-suite breakthrough mindset coach, clinical hypnotherapist, and multiple #1 best-selling international author and artist who helps people rewire their subconscious, release emotional weight, and transform their relationship with money, power, and self-worth. She works with a wide range of clients, including Fortune 500 executives and visionary leaders, guiding them through deep mindset work, subconscious healing, and unapologetic self-liberation. Tisha Marie Cain is highly sought after for elevating executive mindsets with clarity, confidence, and strategic vision to convert opportunities into measurable advantages. So welcome to the show, Tisha Marie Cain.
Thank you, Marianne. What a blessing it is to be here. I appreciate you.
Oh my goodness. Well, what a great honor it is to have you here and to talk about this. And we've known each other for a while. And I know you're called by many the visionary leader that top leaders go to. What do you think allows you to see what other successful leaders can't?
It's because I've learned to see beyond strategy and beyond the matrix. I see patterns and I see consciousness. Most leaders that come to me, Marianne, they operate from logic, that left brain, but true vision requires intuition and awareness of the unseen drivers beyond and behind their decisions. I have this thing called the Radical Breakthrough Protocol. And what it does is it helps leaders identify unconscious patterns that are quietly dictating their results. So through this modality that I use, once they come to me and we reprogram their subconscious mind, they have clarity emerge. The leaders I work with often say, I help them see themselves again. That seems to be the common denominator. And that's the advantage point that we operated from, that innovation, that alignment, that reality creation that I speak about most.
I think that's such an important piece. So many times leaders have no idea where their blind spots are. And you do such a great job about being able to hone in on those and say, ooh, these are areas that we really could improve upon.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have a gift to be able to see the blind spots that they're operating from. You know, most coaches say you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. And so removing yourself from that and having someone like me who can see, it really helps them define where they're going and what success looks like for them and what they want to create.
Well, and I think a lot of times it also depends on how far you can go based on the coach that you're working with. So you can't take someone where they haven't been. I mean, you have been in some very successful and you're highly successful in the work that you do, and you teach people how to go there. Is that also part of the reason why, and I'm just kind of thinking out loud, like why some other coaches they get to a place where they plateau because they can't take people further when they haven't been there themselves.
Absolutely. And that's why I believe coaches need coaches. Um, I've experienced this beautiful place called planet Earth, deep and wide. And they say new level, new devil, right? And so I'm constantly reaching towards my goals and wanting to really identify where I want to go. And sometimes I can't see the blind spot. So I hire someone to be able to direct me towards those goals in a more focused manner that I wasn't able to do on my own. And so essentially, this is what I do for the top executive C-suite leaders that I work with today is just get them more focused and more aligned, driven towards their purpose, and things seem to shake out in their favor.
So, you make a very bold statement that I want to dive into, and that's outcome over income. And it's really based on, I mean, if we look at today's like culture, everyone is so performance driven. So, how has this principle guided you to your own success and the leaders you mentor?
Absolutely. I speak about this a lot, outcome over income. And it isn't anti-profit. It's pro-purpose. When your vision and your values and your internal alignment drive the outcome, income becomes the byproduct, not the goal. So I wrote a book called Transcend: The Path to Limitless Expansion. And I write about how purpose driven outcomes magnetize prosperity without burnout. I had burnout in the past. And so my executive clients also feel this, and they learn that by anchoring in the emotional outcome, the transformation that they want to experience and deliver. They naturally amplify their results, profitability, and fulfillment. And that's why they come to me. It's not about hustle, it's about harmonizing creation, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense because when you look at it, I mean, most top leaders, they have the hustle down. So it's that other portion. It's like, how do we get to a place where we can be passionate about the work that we're doing?
Absolutely. And how to become passionate and more fulfilled in a way that they hadn't been before. And this is what I teach is most leaders come to me and they're missing the spark for life and the spark for the business. And I just turn the spark back on in their eyes through the power of hypnotherapy and rewiring the subconscious brain, that fulfillment alignment is the byproduct. So that outcome is far more powerful than the income could ever be.
What an important piece. Well, I know you've achieved such extraordinary results in your own career and have helped thousands of top executives do the same. What shifts in perspective do high achieving leaders seek from your work in order to create lasting impact and success?
Good question. I think the common denominator here is high performers come to me when success no longer feels like success. They've mastered the performance, but not peace. The shift I facilitate in my sessions is from achievement to alignment. It's from that external control to an internal coherence. Through my clinical hypnotherapy, and I also use NLP, I teach them to achieve and access subconscious intelligence, that quiet place where intuition and confidence and creativity merges together. When they lead from a space, results expand effortlessly, and leadership becomes a state of being rather than an act of doing.
Well, you mentioned NLP. Can you share what that is for us?
Sure, NLP is neuro linguistic programming. So it's using the brain and language to reprogram your mind, your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. And that's where, if anyone has not had some sort of course or class in NLP, I would prescribe that right away because our words become our beliefs, our behaviors, and it shapes everything that we do today.
Is that one of the big pieces you work with the top leaders on? Because I know you work with C suite executives and A-listers. Is this a big piece of that?
It is. A lot of them say, I have to go back to work. And I reframe it for them using NLP and say, you get to go back to work. What a blessing it is to have a beautiful business that you own, a legacy company that your family has gifted to you. You get to go back to work. And so reframing that through the power of NLP shows them that they're blessed and points them back to gratitude in everything that they do.
What a big piece that is. It's something I think maybe a lot of people don't even consider.
I don't think they do. And I asked a gentleman this morning, just in passing, he said he's well read. And I said, that's perfect. Have you had an NLP class? And he said, no, I don't even know what that is. So I suggested that to him, and he said, I'm absolutely going to do it. And I know he's going to come back to me and really share with me how profound it's going to change his life.
Well, it's really interesting. And I've heard this among the top leaders that I've spoken with, and I know that you have as well. But many leaders have reached like the top of their field, and yet oh my gosh, they're still feeling unfulfilled and stagnant in their work. What typically leads them to seek your guidance, and how do you help them expand into what's next?
They come, I believe, with the old identity. That achiever, the fixer, the strategist, that's old. And that stops working for them. These leaders sense there's a next level that they can't reach by traditional means. That's where something like my radical breakthrough protocol begins. We dissolve the subconscious resistance, we rewire their identity, and we open a new energetic blueprint for creation. When a leader's being evolves, their business naturally flows and it follows. It's not about reinventing the company or reinventing themselves. It's about recalibrating the consciousness that runs through it. And this is so important.
That is a very important piece. And is it something that you see with a lot of leaders? They get to this place and they're just they're really unsure, like, what is keeping me stuck from really transforming the work that I'm doing?
Yeah, it's those old limiting beliefs. They come to me with these limiting beliefs of imposter syndrome, or I'm not good enough, or um, how could this just be gifted to me? I'm not worthy. And we just unravel with NLP and hypnotherapy. We unravel those limiting beliefs and just really create their next level leader.
You often speak about alignment being more powerful than ambition. How does alignment look for a highly successful leader?
Alignment is when your beliefs, your emotions, and your actions, they all move in the same direction without internal conflict. Here's what I say. Ambition pushes, alignment pulls. A leader in alignment doesn't chase the results, they command them through coherence. Using hypnosis and mindset recalibration, I help my clients shift from force to flow, from efforting every day to energetic precision. And I love this. When leaders operate from that state, decision making becomes effortless, communication is clear, and the results that happen, they become exponential if they come from a place of alignment.
Is it really tough for them to discern if they're in or out of alignment on their own?
It is really tough for them to discern, but I typically have them be more embodied, bring it into their body where we have the heart and the mind and the body in coherence with their directional goals. And then they could see it after a couple of sessions. They could see, oh, wow, I was unaligned with my goals and I started to force things. Now I get to be in flow. And it typically lines up once they really understand that integrated embodiment piece.
So, what are some of the surprising blind spots you see among the most accomplished executives or C suite or even entrepreneurs?
Mm-hmm. The biggest blind spot I often see is identity attachment. Leaders get so tied to being the achiever, the problem solver, or the one who always wins. I know I was tied to that for a while. And they don't realize those same roles can limit them also. I tell my clients the mindset that builds your success may not be the one that sustains it. So, through hypnotherapy, we uncover those subconscious identities that silently drive their behavior. And once those are upgraded, clarity, creativity, fulfillment, they return almost instantly.
Well, it sounds like a great place to be in when all of that comes back to us in really profound ways.
It is, and they're more aligned than ever. I see that spark really turn on, and they feel more energetic. They feel more fulfilled. And I've had tons of stories. I know, Marianne, you and I have spoke before about how these top leaders, they were getting ready to retire. And now after a few sessions with me, they're never going to retire. It's so great.
Well, and were they going to retire because they just didn't feel that spark for the work they did anymore? They're tired. What was it?
Absolutely. They felt run down, like the business didn't have an energetic aliveness. And once I had the leader become more embodied and more integrated, and it was who they were being inside, that kind of rippled effect out into their business. Once they elicited the joy within themselves, it rippled into their business where everyone else around them were asking, okay, what's next? What's on the horizon? And got my leader in the forward facing motion to grow the company where everyone was magnetized to him. So he felt more alive than ever before because he was integrated and embodied.
Ooh, what a big piece that is. I think that would be so helpful for people in every area of their lives, not just in how they lead.
Absolutely. In every area. This is a holistic practice that I do. You come into my office, you come into my energy, and I look at the fulfillment wheel, and we look at everything. You can't manage what you don't measure. And I preach this. And so once you come in, we look at everything and deploy that out on your forward facing directional goals. Whew, it's magic. It really is.
So, how do you help leaders integrate deeper levels of consciousness into tangible business success?
Oh, I love that. Consciousness and business are not opposites. They're two sides of the same coin. When a leader expands their inner awareness, they access higher levels of intuition, empathy, and innovation, all of which translate directly into their leadership, and it translates into the results. So it's that integration of consciousness and business.
Well, one of the things I really appreciate about your work, and you do something that most, I think, leaders and coaches and people who are like C suite leaders do, is that you help folks get from a place where they can see those tangible results. Because you hear about, oh, we're going to get you to this place, but a lot of times there's no map in order to make that happen.
That is absolutely true. And my program, The Next Level Leader, gives them a roadmap to success. And I know it's a little cliche, but you have to have these signposts and these little markers that really set you up for success as you are achieving your goal. So I give them a map, I give them a signpost. Okay, you made it here, you're doing well. Let's just keep going. And give them a direction because they don't know how to elicit it on their own.
So is that meaning that you can really take somebody from point A to point B where they're seeing those big results?
Absolutely. And as much as I believe in the silver bullet, one and done, if and when they decide to get several sessions with me, I create that forward motion to sustain the high level of energy, the high level of results, the high level of impact. I just keep them on the up and up to start achieving everything that they want to come to fruition in their life. So it's creating that momentum to move forward and sustain it. That's really important.
That's such a big piece. There's so many people that want to get to the next level. And having results that you can track is not something that everyone offers. And that's one of the many things that I appreciate about you, that you give trackable results.
Thank you for saying that, Marianne. Yes, I'm very results driven. I want to see where I'm going and what's next. And this is what I do for these leaders is I give them a measurable strategy where they can look down and say, okay, yep, I hit the mark. Now what's next? And I love this because it's not just fluff. It's really driving them towards what they want, and they could see it on paper, on pen, in their heart. More importantly, feel it. That drives them forward because we measure everything.
Such a huge piece. I'm always so grateful for the work that we do together because it has changed my life. And I don't say that lightly. I think a lot of times people they hear the work that people do with other folks and they're like, oh, well, that's just her. I mean, it's changed my life and I've seen it change so many other people's lives as well.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I know my purpose here on planet Earth, and I know I'm meant to help millions, impact millions, and I'm just so blessed that I get to live in my channel and my presence, and I get paid to be me and just turn lights on, turn sparks on, and to help people create the reality of their dreams.
So I want to dive into different levels of leadership. And one of the things that I've seen when I've worked with different leaders is you get some folks who really thrive on like this control and performance, and that's all they can see. So what's this first step that they can actually use towards learning how to lead through trust and presence?
I think for me and most of my clients, the first step is safety. You can't surrender what you don't trust. My high achievers operate from a nervous system wired for performance and not for peace. And that's where hypnotherapy becomes powerful. In a trance like state, the subconscious learns it's safe to relax without losing control. That shift allows leaders to trade their tension for presence and micromanage for mastery. They just trade these out. When trust replaces control, they lead from coherence. And that's where effortless influence begins.
Such a great place to come from. Is it a real difficult shift for folks that have been doing? Because I mean, we were all kind of taught that leaders are in control and it's all based on performance. So making those shifts, I mean, is that really hard?
It depends in my lawyerly like advice. It depends. Some people are very logical and in their left brain, and sometimes it's hard. And some people are very creative and in their right brain, and sometimes it gets to be easy. But I just go back to the cliche, this gets to be easy now. And we just push easy buttons all the way. And I suggest that to them. And then if they don't believe it, I suggest that they borrow my belief and push all the easy buttons to carve back the life that they've always wanted.
Is it the fact that they really have to want change enough? Because I think that paradigm of control and performance, not that that's a bad thing, but it seems to be shifting.
Yeah, it's they need to. My best client is one that says, you know what? Okay, I've made it. I have all the success and I still feel unaligned or I still feel unfulfilled. And that's why they seek out someone like me with my expertise is they're ready for more. They're meant for more. They want more. They want to feel more fulfilled and safe and peaceful at the end of the day. And so that's my best client. Someone saying, okay, I know what you have will help me, and I'm ready for the next level and the next phase of my life. Can you help? And I'm that girl.
So when leaders have made these shifts, how is it affecting their employees and their corporations?
Yeah, when they've made these shifts, the ripple effect is huge. I've watched top leaders become more magnetic, where leaders were thinking about what their employees were thinking about them, and now they turned it around. And I think it was Terry Whitaker who says, "What you think about me is none of my business." And these leaders are thinking that way now because they know that they're so in alignment with their purpose and their goals. They become magnetic, and then that ripples into their cabinet, into their employees, into their managers, into their workers, and it shifts the whole company to a forward facing momentum that it's a felt sense. You can see it, but it's also a felt sense.
So, how do you help leaders reframe failure or disruption as part of their growth and evolution?
I teach them that failure is feedback from a high frequency. When a door closes, it's not punishment, it is redirection. In hypnotherapy, we use subconscious reframing to turn what feels like breakdown into a breakthrough. Leaders learn to extract the emotional intelligence from every disruption and use it as data for their evolution. True resilience isn't about bouncing back, it's about bouncing forward. And that's what conscious leadership is all about. And I'm seeing this right now. We're having a lot of conscious leaders step up and be more heart centered and lead from that space. And I'm watching them just pop open, and it's a wonderful space to be able to witness this in humanity right now.
Are you having a lot of leaders that are looking at their past, what we would call like failures or things that would disrupt their business as like a personal hit or hurt to themselves?
Yes, and they internalize everything about their leadership, that they're not good enough, or this imposter syndrome. And it really isn't that. It's the limiting beliefs that they're carrying. And through hypnotherapy, we just rewire those limiting beliefs. They were born perfect, and I just walk them back home.
So, you work with individuals who already influence so many. What responsibility do powerful leaders have to evolve personally, and how much of that growth impacts the organization?
Yes, this is basically what I just um, reiterated moments before, is when a leader evolves, the entire organization evolves. Leadership isn't about the titles. It's an energetic transmission into their business. If a leader is operating from fear or something like scarcity or control, that vibration ripples through their culture. And when they elevate their consciousness, the organization naturally becomes innovative, trusting, and emotionally intelligent. That's why hypnotherapy is such a powerful tool. It allows leaders to upgrade their internal operating system, clearing out outdated beliefs and emotional imprints that affect how they show up. When they have the inner clarity inside meeting their outward leadership, transformation becomes contagious.
What an important piece. Now, being able to release those limiting beliefs, is that something that they have to be consciously aware of, or is it something that you work with them on to get them to the next level?
Yes, most times they are not consciously aware of their limiting beliefs. And I have been gifted with eyes to see and ears to hear. And so I can pull out a limiting belief very, very quickly. So I just kind of reframe it up for them and do a feedback loop. And I say, this is what you just said, that, I'm not smart enough. And that's the limiting belief, because you're a sweet C-suite leader and you're here in my office now. Obviously, you're smart enough to be here. So I just feed back the loop to them and show them that they do have some limiting beliefs that we get to work through.
Wow, what an important piece that is. I can imagine that you probably get calls not only from their their executive staff that works with them on a daily basis, but also maybe their family going, "Wow, we just got an upgraded boss, CEO, family member."
Yes, I laugh because it typically happens that way. I change one person, and whoever that person affects, they normally come back and say, "Okay, my mother-in-law is coming to see you on Friday because she has noticed that I have changed every aspect of my life, and she wants a little bit of that as well. And I know you can help her." So then I see her and shift out of those limiting beliefs to help her. So it is that ripple effect that evolves families, organizations, everyone within that realm or that sphere of that individual. It ripples out into their whole life.
I can imagine you've got VPs showing up going, I want what that person had. You know?
Yes, and the vice president of the president will say, "They're changed. I can't believe they're changed." And I'm like, "No, that's an energetic block I can't believe." I just say, "It just makes sense. They're doing the work. They're in their heart space. They're integrated. They're embodied. It just makes sense." And then the vice president is like, "Can you secretly see me too?" And I start laughing and say, "Yes, let's do the work. Let's do the work."
Well, I think that that's just so interesting how it has that ripple effect and people are seeing those tangible results take place. And for me, I mean, I'm very much well, I have a very spiritual side, but at the same time, I'm fully grounded in work and how business should be. So I want to see the results. I want to see that happen.
Yes, absolutely. And I talk about that. I give them that roadmap to success where they can see the results. This isn't fluff. We are moving in a direction, and I talk about that. We're moving in a direction of your dreams and goals, but we have to first get granular. What are your dreams? What are your goals? And bring up big vision and high resolution. And then everything we do is towards that vision.
So, how then do you help clients translate this deep inner transformation into measurable results within their teams and their companies?
Everything starts in the subconscious mind. When a leader rewires self doubt or fear or the need for control, they make decisions from a coherence instead of a contradiction. That shift changes how they hire, how they communicate, and how they delegate. In something like my radical breakthrough protocol, we use a guided hypnotherapy to align the subconscious mind with the leader's conscious goals. The results are visible: improved revenue, retention, emotional stability across all teams. I see it. And the transformation becomes measurable because the mindset shift creates systematic change. It's the inner work with the outer matrix that I deploy on them.
That's pretty impressive. It's so interesting. I mean, because when we used to look at using something like hypnotherapy, most people thought, ooh, that's woo woo, and they're going to make me sound like a chicken on a stage when it's not like that at all.
It's not like that at all. And most people believe it's mind control, and it's further from the truth. It's actually um, focused control, and they're always in control. I'm just the facilitator in their transformation, and I see transformation every single day through the power of hypnotherapy.
That's such an important piece. And being able to use this for business, I mean, that's kind of like a secret little tool that many top executives are using.
It's funny that you say secret because it's like they want to keep this modality in their toolbox and not share it with everyone else because it's really transforming their lives and moving the needle forward to get the results that they want. So it's like this little secret that they don't want to share. And then I see, oh, okay, don't talk about it. I've made the results happen in my life, but I don't want to tell everyone that hypnotherapy got me there. It's really funny.
Is that partly because they also don't want you to be shared with so many people? They're like, well, when I call, I want to get my time with her.
Yes. Oh, I laugh because you are so right on. They're like, I want to get all the time with her as I can, and I don't want to share her with anyone. So it's pretty funny.
Well, and I also think it gives them a great advantage when they're dealing with high pressure. Maybe it could be a business deal or maybe a takeover or whatever the case is. When something high pressure is coming up, they actually have the upper advantage.
Oh, this is the advantage. This is the cheat code. Hypnotherapy is the cheat code to get the results. And I just want to go to the mountain and shout that this is a safe, easy way. for transformation, for alignment, for fulfillment, for purpose, for happiness, bliss, and joy. I just want to shout out and thank you for this radio show program, because this is a way to get this out, that hypnotherapy can help the people get everything out of life that they ever wanted.
Well, just as long as I have my time with you when I call, we're okay. I'll let everyone know except for that time.
Okay, deal, deal. You got a deal.
Oh my goodness. Well, I know so many, gosh, so many top leaders really realize that achieving without meaning, it's empty. If you got achievements and there's no meaning to it, like, why are we doing what we're doing? So, what does meaningful success look like to you?
Meaningful success. Yeah, it's really coming back to that embodiment piece. It's coming back to being aligned in your true purpose, in your truth. I speak about truth a lot. And we first need to understand what success looks like to you. What does that look like? And then go towards it. Success to me is having time freedom and time with my family and having financial freedom, but it starts within. Once I created that freedom within myself, at the molecular level, my whole world opened up. So this is what I help others create, is the freedom internally so that they can see it externally.
Is it for those executives that maybe feel like things are really stagnant? Like for 100 years, we've, quote, always done it this way, or this is how we approach business, even though they can kind of see their bottom line is tanking. Is it for those folks?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I've kind of bridged the gap from personal hypnotherapy to business hypnotherapy, because I have seen the results. One, because I measure them, and two, because I get the feed. I don't just say feedback, but the feed forward information from these leaders, and how, Tisha, I don't know what happened, but all I know is life is so exquisite. I've never been in this place before. And it must be because of hypnotherapy. It must be because of the work that we're doing here that's transforming my life. And it is because they're willing to do the work, and they're willing to come in for a business hypnotherapy session to drive the results quicker. It's like I said, it's the cheat code.
So, for many people, when they hear do the work, they think, oh, this might take years. What's the reality behind that?
Oh yeah, you can have it take years if you want. I laugh. I'm like, we can have this take 3 years. Um, or you can have it take 3 months. Or if you're doing it like Miss Tisha Marie Cain, lightning style, we just have it take 3 hours and we just get this done. Because it's a decision act, and God will act. It's decide and act on what you want, and then the universe will rise up to meet you.
Well, and a lot of people might say, well, that sounds pretty fantastical. So, does that really work?
Or you know what they say is, they say that sounds pretty woo woo. That can't be that easy. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever you believe, you're right. So if you believe that it can't be that easy, you're right. But if you believe that it can be easy, you're right. So whatever you believe is right. And if you don't believe it, just borrow my belief.
Well, I love, and you touched on this a little bit earlier, about how you've blended leadership and business and success with hypnotherapy and conscious transformation in the work with your top leaders. How do these elements create results that traditional executive coaching can't even match?
Yeah, they can't touch it because I operate at the highest integrity, the highest forward motion driven success. I love results. I want to see them. I breathe them. I integrate them. I empower them to get everything out of life that they want. When I end my life here in the next 120 years, I want to come in exhausted. So I help them drive towards their goals and everything that they do, measuring the matrices along the way so they get out of life and out of their business what they want, because they could see the measurable results that we're working on together. And it just creates this momentum, forward focused motion that allows them to get everything that they want in their business and in their personal life.
Well, I know you're pretty humble when it comes to talking about your own successes, but you have gone through law school, hypnotherapy. You've done all the work so people get that benefit of this unique skill set that you offer.
Absolutely. And another thing I say is, when you come into my energy, when you come into a session with me, it's kind of woo woo, but I say I collapse timelines for you. And basically, what that means is I'm going to give you 3 years of information and you won't be 3 years older. So I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you the cheat codes, the cliff notes, to make life easier, so you could just get it now and not have to waste time. I've spent 17 years in college. I'm done. So now that I've taken all of that information, I've wrapped a nice little bow on it and then deploy it, give them what they need, and they don't have to be 3 years older, but they've got 3 years of information in one session.
I think that, and they're not exhausted from it. It's really something that's energizing their soul. At least that's how I felt.
Yeah, yeah, because they're ready for the information. And I just had this discussion yesterday with a client, and she said, "You're the one they're coming to, you know." And I said, "I do know." And she goes, "I know that you know. And that's why I'm going to hire you, because you know, and I want you to tell me." And I'm like, "Let's go," because she's ready for the information. And then when she leaves my session with me, she is more empowered, more energy, more energized. And that I see the spark. I see the spark turn on. It's so beautiful.
What an empowering place to come from. And it's interesting when a business leader comes from that high place, they're only going to be working in that level of success in everything they do. The old ways of operating and working fall to the wayside because they're now open for new opportunities, new advancement, and new information and innovation.
Absolutely. And it's an energetic intelligence. We've moved past the age of strategy. We really have, and we're entering the age of frequency. Leaders who understand emotional regulation, consciousness, and the subconscious programming will outperform those relying on intellect every single day. In the volatile world that we're in right now, adaptability comes from inner stability. And hypnotherapy helps leaders stay anchored, helps them stay intuitive and creative, even in the face of uncertainty, because they're no longer reaching for the external world. They're creating it from within themselves.
Wow, that's just so impressive. My goodness. How can leaders maintain balance and authenticity while operating at such high levels of success?
Oh, that's a good one. I believe that balance is not time management, it's energetic management. Leaders lose balance when they're unconsciously running those old survival codes, and they're proving and they're pleasing or performing for validation. Through hypnotherapy, we access and reprogram those deep patterns so leaders can operate from presence and not pressure. I think that authenticity becomes effortless when your inner state is congruent. And I speak about congruency all the time. When their inner state is congruent with their outer expression. That's the essence of my book. I wrote a book called Successful Women Show Up Differently. And that's the essence of my book. Balance is not about doing less, it's about being more aligned with what truly matters in your life.
So, we talk about evolution of leadership. What does that look like in a world that's changing so rapidly?
Yeah, again, it's that energetic intelligence. It's about coming back to being more in flow and not force. It's embodiment, it's integration, it's purpose driven. It's really understanding who you are being and not what you're doing, and bringing that back home and having the remedy within your soul and being synced up to your purpose and your goals, um, and to God, really.
I love that. I think that that's such an important piece. And for me, working with you has been a game changer. I mean, opportunities are opening up where before I know it was my limiting beliefs that was keeping me stuck. So thank you.
Thank you.
I know you work privately with so many A-listers and Fortune 500 executives. Why do so many of them turn to hypnotherapy as a secret tool as part of their success strategy?
Yes, they really believe it's a secret tool because hypnotherapy is the highest path to lasting transformation. These leaders don't need more strategy. They need a space to rewire that subconscious mind that runs the strategy. High performers are often carrying invisible pressure, fear of failure, or those imposter patterns that no amount of success resolves. Hypnotherapy bypasses the analytical mind and goes straight to the root, dissolving those patterns of the unconscious at the subconscious level. So, why so many top executives quietly use this? It's because it creates effortless confidence, and I see it, and it creates that emotional resilience and creative flow in their business and in life. They move from that force to flowing using hypnotherapy.
It's so interesting when we look back at the things, the limiting beliefs, and the stories we tell ourselves, and all of the little things that have happened to us in our lifetime that make these roadblocks in our way towards success, and just how easy it is to remove those with the right person working with you.
Absolutely. And I believe it is easy. I also believe that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So when you're ready, like, I move into your reality, your hologram, your awareness when you are ready. It's really easy to remove these limiting beliefs, but you got to believe that it is. If you believe it's going to be hard, it's going to be hard. I just believe that my whole life gets to be easy now, Marianne. My whole life gets to be easy. And then I find evidence of that belief system.
Well, I know you, and I know that that is the truth. So, seeing how that all comes together is pretty remarkable because every day you do what I hear you call celebrating the wins because you have so many of them. It's interesting. I don't even know if you have a day that you go by without celebrating a win.
Oh no, that is the root of my family. It's the root of my being is all these little wins to just really be present in the moment, because all we have is now. And like you said, I celebrate, 25,000 followers on my social media program, like the little things that people don't even celebrate. I celebrate, wow, our supper came out perfectly done tonight. All the dishes were perfect and everybody was on time at the dinner table. Let's celebrate. And then we do a woohoo. And then it just adds so much joy because we're really deeply connected to being present in the moment, that we get to see all the interworkings of how God, Gus, I pray to Gus, God, universe, and spirit really help align all of my goals and aspirations so that I am in my highest frequency, so that I can help others move to their highest frequency of joy and happiness and bliss.
Well, what a great place the world would be if we all were able to operate on that. And I know you're being very humble, but I also know you don't share names, so we don't have to go there, but you've had clients that have worked with you that have had major business wins that they look back and go, "Oh gosh, this is something I could never even thought or dreamt of accomplishing 6 months ago."
Absolutely. And they come back to me, Marianne, and they say, Tisha, because of you. And I say, no, because of you. You had the courage to step up and reach for a hand for help. You had the courage to show up here today to say, hey, there's got to be a blockage. There's got to be a misconception. There's got to be a limiting belief. And there's somewhere that I need help with. So congratulations. You were cognizant and aware enough that you needed help just to get over this little hurdle. And they have had major success with just little mindset shifts, little shifts within their mind, within their business, that have propelled them forward, that I don't seem to be too amazed at this point in the game. I always say, yep, it just makes sense. But sometimes they come back and I'm just like, wow, I'm celebrating them big time on what they were able to accomplish just by shifting out of those limiting beliefs and reframing and rewiring the subconscious mind.
So, kind of to dovetail with that, so what specific challenges in leadership respond best to hypnotherapy? Like, if we're going to talk like decision fatigue or imposter syndrome or creative burnout?
All of them, because they're all ornate, and they're ornate and they originate in that subconscious brain. Fatigue stems from mental overload, imposter syndrome from that old identity wounds, and creative burnout from chronic fight or fight patterns. I was there. So I love hypnotherapy because it allows the nervous system to reset and the mind to rewire. In sessions with me, leaders often rediscover creative flow, and they sharpen their intuition, and they regain access to that quiet knowing within themselves that fuels their visionary leadership. It's not about therapy in the traditional sense. I wouldn't say that. It's a high performance consciousness training.
So, do you work with leaders that are, because I know you work with some major leaders that are in charge of Fortune 500 companies, but do you also work with entrepreneurs, or small business owners in order to kind of change their life as well?
Absolutely. I work with moms. I work with they say in business, who is your avatar? Because when you talk to everyone, you talk to no one. But I really believe that hypnotherapy is for anyone who is wanting to go to the next level of fulfillment in their life and they don't know how to get there. Hypnotherapy is the cheat code. I will default to hypnotherapy every single time, because it's the fast track to healing. It's the fast track to growth. It's the fast track to results in the now space. And so it is for anybody and everyone who's ready to transform their life. This is not for the faint of heart. I mean, if you're on the fence, like, do I change or do I not? Don't do hypnotherapy, because it is the cheat code and it will transform your life.
So, how does hypnotherapy unlock a leader's ability to think, perform, and create at a higher level?
I love that. I believe that when your mind is relaxed, the brain enters that alpha and theta state, and that's where the genius lives. We can get there in prayer and meditation too, but hypnotherapy is getting to that subconscious where the genius lives. This is where that those same brain wave states associate with peak creativity and peak flow and intuition. So through guided hypnotherapy, I help leaders access that state intentionally on demand. Over time, they learn to make powerful decisions with clarity and with confidence without the overthinking or that emotional reactivity that uses that the part of the brain that drains them. In this space with me, the subconscious becomes the ally and not the saboteur.
That's a big piece.
It really
Ooh.
is.
Well, and can you share an example? And I know you take confidentiality very seriously, so we're not sharing names here, of how this work has led to very measurable breakthroughs in a leader's career or organization?
Absolutely. And thank you for prefacing the confidentiality, because I really believe that Privacy Act, this is your internal work. This is private stuff that I keep very near and dear to my heart. So privacy is the utmost concern for me. Um, One of the examples I would say is an executive client of mine came to me completely burnt out, um, successful on paper, but privately anxious and unfulfilled. And we used my radical breakthrough protocol. And when we did that, we discovered deep subconscious programming around unworthiness and control. After several sessions, though, of rewiring and emotional recalibration, he reported feeling calm for the first time in years. Within months of working with me, his sales records skyrocketed, not because he worked harder, but because his team began mirroring back to him his new state of coherence. And so when a leader shifts, it shifts the whole culture, and the culture follows him.
Well, isn't that the truth? They always say that you can never go faster than the lead horse. So it's the leader that's driving all the success, all the business ventures, all of the innovation. And if they are slow and stuck or uncertain, where are they going?
Exactly. And that's why I say, give me the president, give me the CEO, give me the CFO. I want the top leader. If you're wanting to make lasting change in your business, I want the guy on top to shift out of the old paradigms, the old limiting beliefs, because it really ripples through the culture code of their business, and everyone feels it. So if I can get that top guy, work with him, then it's as if I am working with the 350 other employees that he has.
I know that you've shared with me also that you've had different corporations after working with the CEO will go ahead and then have you do like a executive retreat where you're helping all the executives really kind of up their game as well.
Absolutely. I'm currently structuring a retreat for a legacy company where their whole cabinet, their whole executive team will be joining me to do this whole embodiment piece where we work together as a team, because I believe where two or more come together, so it is. So if we get everybody focused forward on the same page, per se, um, it really begins to be magical. And so I'm designing this executive retreat to be integrated, holistic, and bring in common themes of rewiring those limiting beliefs and transforming out of the past strategy type of thinking and into more alignment. So I'm really excited for them and what they're creating in their business, and I'm so blessed to be able to help facilitate their growth.
Well, how exciting is that to be on the leading edge? Because I know when it comes to business, leaders are always looking for the edge. What is it that's going to make them sharper or just have that edge in all their meetings and everything that they're doing? And I've got to tell you, hypnotherapy is a game changer.
It really is. And I am a competitive person. I love to have the competitive edge. And hypnotherapy is this secret tool that just propels leaders forward.
Well, Tisha Marie, you're such an inspiration. Where can people go to learn more about your work and your amazing books, and also to schedule their own private hypnotherapy appointment?
Thank you. Please visit me at my website. It's Tisha Marie Cain, CAIN.com. There you can go and make an appointment with me. I am on all platforms, Tisha Marie Cain, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can see my history there, where I've been, and certainly where I'm going. And I would love to be able to impact lives at a bigger scale and be able to use hypnotherapy to get them there. So yeah, visit my website and let's do the work together.
Well, Tisha Marie, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Thank you, Marianne.
Well, thank you, Tisha Marie Cain. It's been such an honor to spend this time with you and to talk about the Executive Wisdom Series, The Power of Outcome over Income. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.